you do such a professional work and oh, sorry. Okay, sorry.
Just
And
gonna check to see if we found.
I'm putting this back because I hear better this way, I think.
Yeah,
And
that's fine.
so yeah, I think we are live. I don't know if we have someone with us.
Yeah, we are live. I see you.
Uh, I'll try. Oh, so you see us live, right?
I have you streaming to my Facebook, and I see it. Everything is up.
Okay, great. So you can see the comments too, right? Because here on the telephone I don't see so well. So we keep an eye on the comments.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on
And
the chat.
I don't know if we have already someone with us. I'm very grateful for whoever is joining this now, and I'm very grateful for being here. And yeah, let's start the fun. Let's start the fun.
Yeah, exactly. And it is a lot of fun. I mean, it doesn't quite look that way when we look at our world the way it is, but in a way, if we step back and see it from a bigger perspective, it has a completely different view. Um, what happens with most of us in our lives is that we get lost in the belief that the human experience is what we're experiencing. And that is a version of the human experience that is not even our natural human experience. But again, if you still see it even as an experience, it still holds that as a way where you can play with it, whatever is going on, without getting lost in what's going on. But what happens, we take our world and we shrink it so much that we actually say, okay, what I'm looking at is what my life is about. What my journey has been from the moment I was born till now is what my life is. What happened and didn't happen is part of my life. What I believe is part of my life. Um, and that's not really our life. That's an adopted idea, and we take on that to have an experience, but it's not really the way it works. Because the process that we're going right now is to bring the genuine us, to really live a true human experience of our true design. Now, the design, as much as there were other aspects of ourselves that were involved in redesigning or designing the human experience, we all have hands on everything that's going on because it's not outside of us in any way. It's really when we look at it, just because we took on a human form and of course a human soul and a multidimensional soul, that we're not here just to stand and experience these, just have the experience because we're going to have the experience, but we're expanding the experience. We're giving a new dimension to the experience. We're having a new dimension of the human experience, but also the new dimension of the what we call the world or the playground, because that's what I call it, is a playground. And right now, all we're really doing is updating and also eliminating all of the things that um, agreed upon at one point to adopt as a way of life. Which, like if anybody's ever heard of my work, living in an inverted world. Okay, so I'm getting on the chat here that everybody's hearing a bad echo. So
Oh,
we
hello, Margaret and Kimberly.
here
There
that's
is feedback coming through. Yeah, it's maybe it is related because you have the Facebook on. I don't know, but usually you have, right?
no, everything is muted on that end. There's feedback. Okay,
Yeah, I don't know.
so
I
my
don't
partner
know what
saying
we
the
can
same thing.
do. Maybe. Oh, it's
How
Kimberly.
did
Hello, Kimberly.
yes? How did you do it before where it stopped? When you took your headset off, was it okay, or you couldn't hear?
Usually, I can take. Oh, and it's the first time that this is happening. Maybe it's
Okay.
strong
So if
energy.
anybody can let us know if there's any feedback now, please let us know if there's any feedback at the moment. Now we've changed something. So I'm not hearing it back here. So it might be okay for everybody else.
Yeah, I'm not hearing anything.
Okay, so
But
it's
I
pretty
know these
quiet
days
now.
sometimes it's good now. It sounds
I think so. Is it better?
really bad.
Okay. Kimberly's saying it's better now. Sounds perfect on your end, Franco. Okay, good. All right, now we're good. Would you be able to
Okay, thank
still hear me
you.
though? Will you still be able
Grateful.
to hear me
I'm
properly?
grateful. What, Franco? Sorry,
Are
I
you are
didn't
you
catch what
are you going
you
to be
said.
able to hear me properly now, or
Yes, yes, I'm hearing you. Yes.
okay?
I saw. Yeah, it's in Mexico. Yeah. Well, I hope it
Okay.
goes well. Anyways, I follow the work of Lee Carroll, Cryon. I don't know if you know the work
I
of
know the work.
Lee
I don't
Carroll, and
follow it, but I know.
yes, and he always says something because sometimes during the lives things don't go well, but when you come back to the replay, things are okay. So if this is being an issue and you are not being able to follow us, this will be recorded. Uh, I feel if it is supposed to be recorded, and then you can come back in the replay and watch better without stress. I don't know. From my side, I cannot do anything else unless we leave it and we come back again. I don't know, but let us know. But
Yeah,
there,
if we go
some
off,
friends
then
are saying it's better,
the
right?
link. Yeah, if we go off and come back, then we're going to lose the link. But everybody's saying it's okay
Ah,
now, so
they
we
are
should be all right.
saying, okay, great. So it's perfect. It's perfect. It is
Good,
what it is,
good.
and it's
So yeah, we
uh,
can carry on from
yeah.
here.
That's yeah.
All right.
So I was watching the last. I think it was the last video that you did, and you were speaking about that of us being our true selves instead of being the AI self. And it's always whenever I hear you, I so much resonate because which of course I feel that if you are which I feel that is what you do, you are connecting, you access the information from the source, let's say, within and maybe without. And so if we are accessing the same information, they match.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There is a
And
source. There is
um,
a source consciousness that we all have access to.
can you
It
repeat,
looks.
Franco?
Yeah, I was saying that we have a source consciousness that we all have access to. So it's not that in one way or another, what I say and share is not accessible by everybody. Um, the
Yes.
thing is, a lot of times we don't access it because we get caught up in the human experience and so forth, or we chose not to have full access yet. But that's what's happening now. More and more people are coming on board to be able to access that. So what I share is to trigger their memory, and also that's why people resonate with it. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's going to resonate, because what happens a lot of times, they're not ready for what is being shared yet because they haven't moved through some of the things that they still put value in playing the game in. Because what happens is higher consciousness in most cases disrupts the way we see things, feel things, live, and so forth. It also changes our life stream. in a lot of ways, because now there's this not only new information, but it is a powerful information that you are starting to come through your system, through your own knowing, not only your innate consciousness of your body, but also the consciousness that has been developed over many, many thousands of years through your human entity, or what you call Earth soul, and then the multidimensional soul. If we're playing a life where, we're what people call really asleep, and then we nudge ourselves bit by bit to get into it, what ends up happening is they have to introduce it stage by stage. Like, I've been doing this for 36 years. I've been sharing this information. I started as a young child, but I didn't talk like this before. I mean, I said a lot of things, but it was only from immediate people. And they didn't take it very well because it disrupted their world. It disrupted what they believed, what they were conditioned. For example, my family, they had very strong religious beliefs and a lot of customs, things that how they saw life from a European, because they were Italian, a European viewpoint, but also because they were from farms and so forth. They depended on very little information of that. That was their experience. It was their choice. But the religion was a very powerful founding foundation for them. What I was sharing was shaking them up. So a lot of times it created fear, there was something wrong with me. Why could you say this and do this and whatever else? So I after a while, I didn't communicate it to the same degree. So, but 36 years ago, I started to do this work or doing events and also, now at that time we weren't live streaming. It was like live events. People came to wherever you went, right? So I started to share more information, but at the same time, it almost had to be unveiled. There was a little bit of time. The way you present it was different because many people weren't ready. And I noticed over the years, I was able to cover more topics, to go a little deeper, and so forth. That's because the collective were going through stages in their lives of completing certain parts of their lives, and they were a little bit more ready to create a disrupt, because it disrupts their pattern, disrupts the way they think and see things. And I used to hear from some people, well, I don't want to be exposed to you because I like the world I have in my mind, and that's it. And that's fine. And that's perfectly fine. I never expect anybody to do any changes in their lives. However, it was really, really instrumental for people to understand that as we were going through that stage, more and more people were feeling the pull inside of them that they needed to shift. Now, either because they were feeling bored, or because they felt stagnated, or because they felt that the life that they were living was no longer satisfying. And they started to feel that there's more to life than what I'm looking at. There's more to life than I've been living. And that triggered a search, a discovery of themselves. And that has perpetuated in a big way, because there's so many more people right now that are, people call it seeking, but really they're basically looking for sources to trigger their own memory. So that what happened? This is the other thing. What people are experiencing is a confusion. It's a disrupt, because what's happening? The energies coming in that we've all agreed to receive is disrupting a lot of patterns of how we think, and even changing the rewiring so that it doesn't have the same sequence as it used to before. What ends up happening is, because of this disrupt, the old world, the world that we've been used to looking at, feels unnatural, feels something is going on. And that's a stimulator to say, okay, now I need to dive in and see what makes sense, what computes, because The back end is changing. Now I need to go into computing. And then when you hear things like what we're talking about now, it brings a certain level of clarity and it aligns everything. And of course, it's really coming from them. We're sharing, triggering, whatever it is, but it's coming from them. And then their world starts to change. And I've seen people change their lives like day and night. I mean, huge. They're going one way of life, going to a complete different life. Some were so pushed, and that's more and more, that they have abandoned not only their career that they built their life on, but even relationships, family dynamics, and so forth. They said, no, it doesn't matter anymore. It does not, because this feels much stronger than that. So there's nothing wrong with whatever we did in our lives and wherever we went with any of this. But now it's really for us to come forth in a big way. Now, there's different people here. People that have come here to play a role, okay? But their role may be more to have the experience and to kind of participate with others so that they have experiences. And then at the same time, while they're having the experiences, they're also creating an emphasis or an expansion or an intensification of the old world. Then there are other people that they came wired already, and then just to turn on the switch, which a lot of them are doing, to come in, not only have the experience, get a deep understanding of how the game is, but to completely change the game. And that's the ones that are the most active. Those are the ones that are saying, hey, I'm going to redesign this human experience. I'm going to redesign how we play the world. I'm going to look at how the game is, and I'm going to change the game because we're going to do it together with a group of people in this upgrade. So those are the people that have, most spend a lot of time, connecting with themselves, clearing out their programs, reactivating parts of themselves that went dormant. There's a lot going on within themselves because they know it's time. It's like, some people talk about mission, having a mission and so forth. Well, a lot of us have come with a very strong intent with all the alignments at a certain time to really step up and play a completely different role, to be hugely complementary to make the changes that are, we're all collectively asking to come about. So people are getting turned on, just to use this funny word, turned on to their purpose, to their, intention of what they came here to do. Now, with that, they are also going through the process of purging all of their history. And when I say the history, we're talking about the definitions, the labels and so forth, and all the adopted ideas, concepts, belief systems, and so forth. Because as they do that, as they clear out that heaviness and the intensities of the old world, what ends up happening is the new world is birthing through them. Because realistically, the new world is within us. The upgraded matrix is within us. The way we are here to express is all within us. We came already encoded. We're already source. We're the spirit of creation. We are creators. The thing is, we've kind of lost touch of that, but now that's coming onto the forefront in a big way. So these are the changes we're going through, and it could feel uncomfortable. But the uncomfortableness is really, some of the restructuring that's going to happen within ourselves, and the little bit of conflict that we're having with the old world and the new world, the programming, the conditioning, the patterns, and so forth, and the stuff that's unfolding within ourselves. And a lot of times the intensity is needed for ourselves to shake us out of a stuck state, or to push us enough to say, okay, I'm going to do this. Okay. Because a lot of times what happens, people get comfortable, let's call it that way, and comfortable in playing the old life, the old game, and whatever else. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you have an internal intention from all levels of yourself, from what we call a higher perspective, or expanded perspective, then it's going to push hard and it's going to use anything possible to kind of dissipate all of that old stuff. And that's what's really happening at this point for us. And it's a beautiful ride now. Like, I've been here 63 years. Okay. When I was born and I was a young person, I observed the world, and to me it looked like, oh my goodness, this is going to be very, very hard, and people are not going to change anytime soon, right? In a way, I felt I was way here too early, right? But I also realized that I needed to also learn the experience inside out, the human experience, the old human experience, the inverted stuff and all of that. But what I see now, I feel excited now, because over the years, I've seen huge leaps, and now more than ever, people that you would never imagine would even get on board with this are getting on board. So it's like now we have a community scattered all over the world that's on the same page on so many levels to bring forth this. And it's not like one person or a few people have to carry the whole thing. They may have been the forerunners, but there are many, many more forerunners coming into place that are already here and have enriched themselves in their experiences, but now are ready to, step it up in a powerful way. So that's the dance we're having, and it's amazing. And the one thing I wanted to say also is that right now, we're also noticing the old world, all the systems and everything that works backwards, has been intensified. And so it seems like you're fighting something, but that's not the way it works. That accentuation is really to help us to see things that we weren't seeing. Because I said in some of my videos that this year and next year is a lot to do with what we call disclosure. But the disclosure is not what a lot of people have talked about before. The disclosure is to be able to see more in depth how the game is, the playmates and everything else, and to see the systems, how it works. And the only reason it's coming to the surface is so that we acknowledge it, are able to get a grasp of it, and then initiate changes. That's what it's all about, because a lot of times, for the majority of the people, they have not been able to see it. A lot of people have put a lot of value and trust in all the systems, thinking that the systems were necessary to keep things going. And now you could see, not only is it crumbling, it's totally unstable. People are reacting, even leaders in countries and different organizations, they are not making any more sense. They're really, now you see what's going on, and it's like, whoa, I put a lot of faith and trust in all of this stuff. Now I'm seeing that, like people say, we've been lied to, we've been this and that. But that's just for us to see and say, oh, that was a pretty cool game. We've played all of this stuff, but now I can see how it works, and now we can take steps to shift it. But the thing is, we got to understand, it's us shifting, and then the movie plays out. Now, I want to share something about the Matrix. The Matrix is a very elaborate operating system. We are a key in each one. The moment that you take on a physical form, you come in with your elements, you get a direct link to it. Okay, every planet has in the Matrix. Now, the Matrix responds to us. Now, the way it was before, when we had the inverted matrix, what we felt and wanted to experience was projected back, played back in reverse. So we wanted to have flourish, and instead of giving us flourish, it created a scenario of suffering or sacrifice or something of that nature. So it came in backwards instead of the original. Now, where we're at now, since that inverted matrix is gone, and we have the organic, natural matrix, which is upgrading also, what we are projecting out is reflected in our collective screen much more. However, here's the trick. Many of us are still projecting the old world
Yes.
because in our memory and our programs, we're still seeing the old world. And guess what? The organic matrix is not flipping everything upside down like the inverted matrix was. It's giving you two straight, but we are projecting out an inverted world because that's still within ourselves. That's why we're seeing the inverted world. This is why we're seeing the inverted world still somewhat alive. It's not because the matrix is doing it. We're transmitting it and the matrix is reflecting it back or giving it back. It's setting the stage, you know? So that's the thing that we need to understand. And this is why it's so important for us to let go of all of our old world within ourselves, everything that we've adopted and so forth and been conditioned, so that we can project something completely new. Because people ask me all the time, when are all the changes going to happen, all of the things? Well, everything is staged. It's perfect for it. But we are the ones that are going to give brand new instructions of your true self into the field, which is the matrix, and then the matrix will reflect that. And we don't need to all be doing it. A certain number of it, a higher percentage of it than what it's been so far, will already change it. And it is changing. But here's the best part. The matrix, as it's reflecting all of this, and all the energies that are coming in right now, are creating the distortions. So this is why you see distortions. You see stuff coming up and it doesn't make any sense too. Not only the role players, but even the thing. Because you have to understand a high percentage of the people on the planet anyways are just part of the matrix. They're part of, they're the so-called extras and so forth. But at the same time, it's not, it's causing the disrupt for the old and not for the new. So we're getting help there, but at the same time, it still relies on us. Hopefully that makes sense. But anyways, I threw in a few extra things that I didn't cover
Yeah.
in some of my episodes yet.
I was just seeing the comments, and I'd like to say hello to all joining. And if you have questions about what Marco Franco, sorry Franco,
No
is
problem.
sharing, and so we can Franco can respond. It's funny now. It's coming your name as Marco. I was wondering if you were Italian a little before our conversation because I have a friend called Franco, which is Italian, and your name and everything, and I didn't knew. So when you said that you were Italian, makes total sense to me. And I'm yeah, I have friends here in Portugal too, and yeah, and I feel this connection about what you were saying. What doesn't I didn't understand is when you say that some people um, are part of the matrix and that you just said that part and that in a way they don't count in the sense that they are living the matrix so they are replicating it. That's it.
You mean the extras?
What you call the extras. What is the extras? I don't know.
Well, yeah, they appear as people, and they are people in a sense because the Matrix also plays in keeping a physical form, but they are not taking an active role where they're actually advancing a direct. For example, they may not have a fully signatured soul, and they don't have a signatured what we call a human soul too, which we call also a human entity. Um, so
Oh,
they're in our lives, and the reason they're there is that they are just adding additional responses, and they play roles with us and so forth. But they're with us, for us, whenever, we require them in our screen, in our view. Okay. So even though there's a percentage of them around, they're not always active to us because we don't see them all. We only see a few, the ones that we have to interact with. When they're not there, you're not even connected with them. But that was all added on. The so-called extras and so forth was added on later on. It was not part of the organic matrix. It was more the inverted matrix that put that in. But it is still being maintained right now in this particular matrix only because it would be quite a shock to lose 64% of the population like this. All of a sudden they're not there anymore. So that's something, and again, the extras does not mean it does. They cannot, have a drop in or have a form coming in or anything of that nature. But I don't want to expand it too much because I'm going to confuse people and so forth. But I did have talked about some of it.
That for me doesn't. I haven't heard you speak about this before because actually I don't know all of your work, and that for me I don't know doesn't resonate. But yeah, I accept that it's a possibility. But for me, I don't know. I see that each. Yeah, that's funny. That's very interesting.
Well, each person, no matter what role they play, whatever they're interacting with us, they're still part of us. There's nothing
Yes, of
outside of
course.
it. Okay.
Yeah, because it's all
And
search, right?
yeah, and even if they're not directly involved in the sense of evolving things, they do play a role to assist ourselves. So you may have, for example, another human that is that may not be totally interested in any upgrades or changes in their lives and so forth. And they're playing the old life. But because they're playing that old life, it's allowing you to be able to have experiences that would have been difficult to have without them. So no matter what, you can never reduce anything that exists because everything is source. Everything is advancement. Everything in every which way you look at it. That's all it is. So uh, we can't say, well, this is better than that. No, there's three categories, the main categories. There are the ones that are part of the background and they are playing a role to support humanity and the experience. Then there's the ones that came here to experience the experience and not only experience, but also interact. And then we have the ones that have come here specifically to upgrade the experience. Okay. So those are the ones, because if you look at the world, how many people are really interested in advancement? There's a lot more for sure now. Absolutely. It's not like it before. But at the same time, not everybody is on board. And that's okay because it was never meant to be that way, or we never agreed to have it to that degree. So it doesn't matter what category, all of it is still source. All of it is still complementary. All of it. So you can't not take any piece out and say, well, that's just an extra. That's this, that's that. No, 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 no. Because for us to be able to do what we're here to do, you need all the parts. That's why it's plugged in. It's all there, Listen, why do we have a body? Why do we even play on planet Earth? Why do we have an operating system? We could have got play on another planet. We could have chose not to even take a physical form. We could have done a lot of things because first of all, we're not bound to bodies. I mean, we can be on other dimensions. We can be on other planets. We can be in other galaxies, the universes, whatever, right? But we came here because this is the place you wanted to come. So you took on everything that you needed. And let me play with this. Let me see what I can do with it. How far can I push it? Whatever, right? So that's it. But it's like anything. Everybody, whatever they want to do, they have their own intent, what they're going to do. Like if you go to the park, for example, you may have the intent just to walk and enjoy nature. You may go to the park because you want to roller skate. Somebody else goes to roller skate. Another one wants to go in the swings or, fly a kite or something of that nature. Each one has a different intent, but everybody's going to the park, right? All the ones that choose to go to the park. Now, and that's how it is. We all chose to come here to play on this playground because Earth is just that, a playground, right? So, okay, we came here to play in the playground. All of us have different intentions of what we want to do. Now, intentions are not rock solid, meaning that whatever intention you may have when you started off can change. Even your intention today. For example, let's go back to the park. Your intention to the park is just walk and enjoy nature, go hug a tree or whatever. But the next day, you go to the park and you say, well, I want to go jogging, or I want to go enjoy something else, or do something else, or meet somebody there and have a nice conversation in the park, right? So your intention will change. And that's how it is here on the playground. Our intentions change. Many of the people, when they were here, have been here, their intention was, okay, let's play the game. Let's get lost in the game. Let's see how fun it is and, how deep we can get in down the rabbit hole of forgetting and whatever else. But now they're saying, okay, well, it's time. Now I want to shift it. I want to have different experience. Now I want to be stepping up in upgrading the experience. I want to upgrade whatever's going on. So their intent changes, their role changes, and they're going to do different things in their lives to reflect it. And their reality and the world starts to change. And that's what's happening. And we also call forward saying, okay, listen, we went down the rabbit hole very deep and it's a little harder to climb up. Maybe we can use some support. So what is that support? It's the energies coming in, the codes coming in, all of that stuff, and also, a reprogramming or a reconstructing of ourselves. So all of that is aiding or helping us, let's call it that, helping us to be able to do it more effectively, more efficiently. That's really what's going on. So look at it this way: we cannot look at even the animal kingdom, the oceanic kingdom. You can't look at nature. You can't look at anything and say, "Oh, that's less than." No, it doesn't work. Every piece is part of us. Every piece contributes to us. Every energy they hold, how they transmute that energy from the coming from the field and so forth, that feeds into Gaia and Gaia reflects through us. All of it is instrumental. I can tell you right now, each species that leaves, say they're not here anymore, creates a change. And then new species come in that aids a change. There's nothing you could say, oh, the rock means nothing. No, everything is life. Everything is source, right? So everything is supporting every part of it. And that's the part we need to understand. You can't say one less than the other. And the same thing with us. It doesn't matter. People talk about young souls, old souls, whatever it is. Yeah, maybe they've had less lives. Yeah, maybe they came on board a little later. All right. The original soul that started to fragment, they came in different stages and they kept a certain part of each of the stages. But, when we're going along and doing that, they may not have had even enough experience, but it does not lower them in any way, shape, or form. They're still source. They're still full, pure love, pure source essence. And they just take on a different role and say, okay, I want to learn from the experiences before I move on. That's really, how it works. Hopefully that's helpful for you.
No, for me, it's how I feel. That's why when you spoke about the extras, because the extras is with the concept I have about extras as something that you don't need,
Oh,
which
no.
is not, which is not. And so it was really great to know about, and it makes sense. And in part because we are creating all the time, and as we are still holding to the old concepts, we are creating.
We are what?
And
Sorry.
we are creating as we
Oh,
are
right.
in polarity, we are creating. And that was what you were saying, right? About we now we are still creating because we are still um, and it's not easy. I had this experience these last days. I thought that I had released or transmuted several issues um, related to polarity, to the masculine, feminine roles, and suddenly everything came much more strongly, bringing me back to a depression, which I thought it was gone because for like 4 years never felt that again, and also many judgments, and so it's very interesting. And when you are in the middle of that, not in the middle, you are like turning in the tornado. It's not easy to get out or to go to the center and to remember. And so when you were speaking about how we still are, um, yeah, acting from the old concepts, old programmings, old experiences, um, and I felt, I don't know, for the other people that are joining us and for you personally, if you felt that these last days have been, Marita is saying it's happening at the same time, quite confusing. I don't know if someone that is watching, but I feel that many people are feeling this intensity right now of many things which we thought were gone or we were done with, or that we had already learned from those experiences, which we did, right? But we keep coming back from a different perspective, a more expanded perspective. But at the same time, I felt this was different because it was really like very intense, and like the feeling of being alone again, which is
Mm,
the at the same time when you are everything, you are alone, right?
right. Well,
And
yeah,
that
that's a
that
belief.
is coming. I don't know. At least for me, that is coming back once in a while. This feeling that because we ask help for the external, or and it is there are many beings, energies, whatever we can call it. I don't have the knowledge or the information, probably because for me it's here now. The message, and it's the message that I'm feeling now is here now, here now, we are here
Mm,
now. And but it's I was trying to ask help, and then I felt like if we are asking help external, in the sense we are still playing the old uh, programming, because we are the help and we are. So yeah, it's very tricky. It's a very intense experience. I don't know if
yeah,
you had been feeling this.
yeah. The thing is, the external help is really, like you said, it's within ourselves. So a lot of times, what ends up happening is other people will remind us what we already know to a certain degree or have not acknowledged. So that's where um, it's just a reminder part. But like you said, I mean, things that you felt that you dealt with, and now it's coming to the surface again, and it's coming more. This is very common for a lot of people are going through this, and I've been hearing this for several years now. Um, because what's happened is that there's still links to it, and even though we've cleared a layer of it or several layers of it, now because of the intensification of the energies and so forth, it's digging it up even further. It's getting right to the roots now. So it's not like cutting off just the top that you see on the soil, you know, like in a plant, for example. But now the roots are being pushed out, and you're now getting to the root of it. Because a lot of times we don't get to the root of it. We make peace with it, but it's not about making peace with it. Really, and this is why I say to people that the most powerful way of experiencing letting it go, give ourselves the opportunity to really feel it. So like you said, you feel lonely, you allow yourself to feel the lonely. So acknowledge it. You have to acknowledge it. And once you've acknowledged it, then you have to go into thankfulness, and you're going to be thanking it, but not superficial, saying, well, I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. No, when you're thanking, you're digging, you're looking for things that really you're thankful for. For example, oh yes, it gave me that experience. I got to feel pain, or I got to feel abandonment. I got to feel all this, and and you have to change everything. And when I say change it, you look at it from its true perspective, that it was not only just an experience, but it was great. It was something that was so carefully created. This is why I also emphasize with people, don't get caught up in the idea of mistakes. Excuse me. There are no mistakes.
Yeah.
We make choices. We do things of that nature, because mistakes end up being an obstacle. It actually gives it hooks, so that even if you want to let go of something, because you're no longer you, as long as you feel that you made a mistake, and now you say, okay, I'm gonna let go of my mistake, then it doesn't work that well. You're still leaving part of the roots, which is going to grow back. Okay, so you want to let go of this whole idea of mistake. That's why I say you go into gratefulness. You're thanking. And you're thanking for it provided, and you thank yourself for making that choice, for having that experience, for co-creating. Because a lot of times, what happens with people is they say, well, I created something bad, or I did this. No, you created something that was beneficial at that time. Yes, it may have been labeled as bad, because first of all, there's no good or bad. An experience is an experience when you see it from a wider perspective. If you're looking at a source, this is like fun. This is a game. It's like, it's like somebody going onto their television and playing one of those video games, or on the computer and playing the video games. It's like, as source, you see it as a game. You see it as an opportunity to become even grander and more experienced in playing the game. And then there's multiple games, so it's not just this game. There's lots of games. But so when you look at your experience of life, okay, yeah, that was a great opportunity. I created this. There was no mistake about it. So if you have the idea of mistake, you let that part go. I now realize that was not a mistake. I let it go. That was a perfect choice for what it was. That way you're pulling more of the roots out, so it doesn't regrow back. And then you can, appreciate the experience that came, the people you met or didn't meet, the intensities you may have experienced or not, because all of it is perfect. Because who you are now was all parts and parcel of that. Then when you go into that, and I always suggest to people to write it down. So if you got loneliness, you at the top of the page you say, I choose to see this as source, because you are source. I choose to see this as source. Then you put on I'm lonely, or I'm having loneliness experience, and that comes with sadness. So you write all that down, and then you now can go into appreciating it. You could go right to wherever it comes from, where it shows up for you as maybe happened as a child or happened at different times, right? So you go there, and you can now acknowledge it, thank it, have a real gratitude to that, and so forth. And you can even see it, because when you're doing that and you're wholehearted, it actually changes. What looked like something bad looks like now, oh, this is lighter, this is more playful, this is amazing. A lot of times people say, go relive it and see it in a different way. That helps, but if you really get to the point of appreciation and love of the experience, it changes on its own, and that is actually much more powerful, and it doesn't have to regrow again or come to the surface anymore. Now, We have to also understand many of us were not ready to go to the same depth at different stages in our lives, because that, we hadn't had the opportunity to complete other things that we wanted to experience in that, and we didn't want to disrupt things so much, so we took the layers off, but we never got to the core. That's not a mistake either. It's like timing, divine timing, as people call it. Now, okay, things have changed. Now I can let go all of that. Now I can really appreciate it, because I couldn't appreciate it before. Now I can appreciate it, right? And that's really why it's coming to the surface now. And the other thing too, a lot of people have said, okay, this is a bad experience, and then they interpret it, like put another good experience on top. But that label of the bad experience never got cleared out. So it's what happens is when the things are elevating, you're going to have it bleed through. But we have to understand, good or bad is just a label. It's just a definition.
Yeah.
Because you've seen many times, two people can have the same experience. One could say bad, one could say good. One could say fun, the other one say it was torture. It all depends on their interpretation of it, right? So we apply labels to trauma, to situations, to pain, something that may have happened or whatever it is. But that's just a label of definition that was applied then, when you had maybe a less expanded version or view of what was going on. But now, this is what changes the labels and dissolves the labels and definitions. When you see, first of all, there's no right, wrong, good, or bad. And then you're now looking at in appreciation. Guess what? The labels of this was bad dissolves. You cannot keep it in place if you're looking at it in its true form. It's not going to be able to stay. So it changes. The labels, the definitions all collapse.
It's so funny because then that's what I'm living now. It's not easy sometimes
Mm-hmm.
to work in the reality. Let's say the matrix or whatever. It's all labels, and so it's difficult to speak and to use the words because all have labels attached to it, all has concepts attached to it, all um, that's why it's coming so much for me, the light language. And I see people meeting uh, soon in some years and using light language. I don't know, because it's whenever we are using the words, it's we are each word is like it's carrying a big bag of information. Oh, oh, now I'm seeing like almost like a BD, a word, and it's carrying a big bag of
Mm-hmm.
information, and the bag is different for every being because the experiences are different. So it's this so multi-dimensional experience that we are having, and even our body, and how, because I was hearing you, and that's something that I'm seeing all the time, and how whatever we say and whatever, if we write as you say, or if we speak, and because we have to feel in the body too, because the body is the, the connector and the connection, and so it's all in the body. And you can say I'm grateful, but if you are not feeling in the body, it still there are things that will hold you, keep you from boundaries that will keep you from expanding more. And
Yeah, exactly. And you got a great point there, because the thing is too, when you get into a genuine gratefulness, and that's why it's not just a matter of saying it, and also loving it. It actually, you have to feel it within yourself, and it has to be pure in the sense where you feel it. Now, yes, you're right. Light language for people, it does help, because it ignites that part of it. It does play a role for people. So there's not that's why it's become much more available now for a lot of people. But at the same time, yes, you're right. You have to feel it. You have to experience it, because if you have blocks or memories that are locked up in certain parts of your body, which can create pain, can create a lot of different other things that's going on, then by really going into that feeling it, because when you're in appreciation, you're actually going into joy. And joy is very powerful when you're, and the joy is, it's a marvel of your creation and feeling excited that you're free. You're free to create even further. So blocks cannot handle freedom, cannot handle joy. They dissolve, right? Um, and a lot of times those are emotional charges that get locked up into our body. And so if there is a particular place that is, accentuating pain or something of that nature, you want to go into it. You want to really connect with the pain and allow yourself to be present with it. And also the same thing, be thankful for whatever you're experiencing in the body at that point in time, and get to a point of joy saying, hey, this is one indication that I'm alive, that I can feel, because if I didn't have the body and if I didn't have the pain, I couldn't feel it, right? So you go into that genuine joy, and that actually breaks down the memory that was locked into that area that's, contributing to the pain or whatever else that's going on. So uh, and this is why it's important to to feel it, It's not, words don't do it. Words is just a small part of it. It's really the feeling. And this is why, um, you have to embody, you have to put the whole body, every part of you into that. And, when we're excited, happy, or joyful, or whatever it is, joyful specifically, uh, we feel lighter. We feel, like there's an energy moving through you. It feels really good. That feeling, the more you experience that, it really breaks down any of the stuff that's from the old world within yourself when you're in that state of joy. And so when you're grateful for everything that you're experiencing, and it's not the same type of grateful to say, well, I'm grateful for this and trying to find what's good about it. No, you're grateful for everything of it, even the stuff you said wasn't good, whatever. That's true, true gratefulness. But the thing is, like I said, when you look at it from a higher perspective, that's why you put at the top of the page where you're writing that. I choose to see it as source, because then you see it as an empowered being, as a creator that can't not make mistakes, makes perfection, and you make perfection, you experience perfection, you just keep upgrading perfection. That's all. It's like, you know, little children, when they're learning how to ride their little bikes and so forth, sometimes they have those extra wheels that they put on the side so they don't fall off. You have the two wheel in the middle and then one on the side. Well, that helps them until they can get their balance. Once they got their balance, you could take the wheels off, but you can't look at the wheels and say, well, that was horrible. Why did I have to have the extra two wheels? No, it was the part that helped them learn their balance until they did. And they were there so that they wouldn't fall. That's all. There's nothing wrong with it. We can look at ourselves and say, hey, look how foolish we were. We couldn't walk. We had to be carried around. Look how foolish we pooped in our diapers and whatever else. No, those are just stages, a part of the growth and experience. You can't look at it, because if you want to feel bad, you can say, hey, listen, I didn't even know how to control or go to the bathroom. I'm just giving you examples here, but it's like everything. It's we have those experiences and we see for what it is, because a lot of people right now, if they want to move quickly through it, it's not about so much about looking at things or judging it or anything of that nature. It's really looking at it. Okay, great. All of it served. I had a blast. I learned from it. You shift everything into it being of service of some sort by really seeing it from a source's viewpoint, and then you're basically moving through it a lot quicker, and you're bringing online what is your new adventure, new way of playing life, rather than the old way of playing life.
Yes, and that is the game, which yeah, it easy, but it seems very complicated, and that is the yeah. That's why I'm always seeing the infinity sign, because it's that loop and that whoa, whoa, now,
Mhm.
now we are in the center now, and we are all the time like this, in a sense, um, which if we are just in the center, creation maybe stops. I don't know, it's something like this, but it's our brains. Um, yeah, our brains are amazing tools, but also amazing blocks in the
Well,
in the sense. Yeah.
a lot of the restrictions that come in is with our ego. Okay, we have ego as a software, and it likes to keep the old world alive, and it has a tendency to um, make little things that should be that is actually easy, make it look complicated, because what happens is it wants to keep everything the way it was, and so forth. So you have to understand that the ego is a software that actually likes to put its spin on things. And so, for example, and this is where you're going to have a restriction, anybody at this point. You're saying, okay, I'm grateful for this and so forth, and I love it. You go into that state, and the ego is going to say, what do you mean you loved it? Because of this and that. Look at what happened to you, whatever it is. They took advantage of you, whatever it is. But that's because the ego is designed to keep the old world alive, to see everything backwards. It does not see source perspective, even though it's part of source operating system that was applied to it. But it's showing you the opposite. It's basically saying, no, there's people that take advantage. You got to protect yourself. There's good, bad, right, wrong, this and that, right? It's going to say all of that because that's how it's conditioned to operate. So when you have that story coming up or so forth, acknowledge the ego. Say, hey, I thank you for the story. I thank you for your feedback. I love you. I thank you for it. But, at the same time, we're not playing there anymore. Thank you for your services, but hey, we're not playing there anymore. Now, that may require a few times to say it over and over again as you're going along through the different stages. When you say, okay, you did a great job, you're saying to the ego, you did a great job, you served, you showed me the inverted world, I had a real blast with it, thank you, but now I'm creating a new world, and you're not, that program is no longer available, no longer required, or no longer part of what I want to see it. And so you don't want to judge it, because a lot of times people get caught up in judging or hating the ego, or they have to kill it or anything. But it's not about that. It's basically acknowledging its services, because it did provide a lot of services. You would have never had the experience you had up to this point in time without it. But at the same time, it'd say, okay, now it's obsolete. We're letting go of the inverted world. So that software is not necessary. So don't hate it, love it and thank it, but say, hey, time to go. See you.
No, because when we are hating it, we are keeping the polarization, right? Um, so it's coming back again. Yeah, it's because it's
Yeah,
coming back.
yeah. Hatred for anything gives it power.
Yeah.
You hate a circumstances, you're making it stronger, more alive, and it's going to continue being there. It's the same thing. You can't look at it and say, well, I got to hate people, I got to hate my circumstance, I got to hate my life, I got to hate myself, and I got to hate my ego. Um, and this is the thing. It's about dropping this whole hatred thing, because that keeps us in the old world, and it was designed from the old world. The inverted world. Let's call it that, um, because everybody's a playmate. We're all having fun and so forth. You've probably heard the phrase lots of times. You got to love yourself and stuff like that. You got to love yourself more. I say to people, don't even waste your time loving yourself. Don't love yourself. Don't hate yourself. Don't judge yourself, period. Because the moment you stop judging yourself, you love yourself. Because what are you? You are pure, infinite love. You are pure love. That is you. We're not even talking about conditioned love or unconditional love. It goes way beyond that. It goes into true love, pure essence, creator, source essence.
I was telling this to a friend the other day about this because it's very tricky to love you. I love myself. I prefer to say I am love. We are love. I am love with you. We are all love because
Mhm.
but it's tricky. It's very tricky because at the same time there is that part that still maybe to operate you need to in a sense um, put your harmony first in a sense. Um, so harmony or um, let's say you have to feel the alignment within so you can then expand uh, the love that you are. So if in a sense you still keep on not honoring maybe your beingness, your and being in the accord in the coherence with your essence, then you are not able to expand more to be that point of expansion that we are. So it's all very um, yeah, it's beautiful when we step a little bit away and we look and we say this is beautiful and this is amazing and this is and it's always changing and shifting at every now at every breath at every millisecond and yeah, so it's a beautiful so beautiful experience that is touch the painful and that's it again the infinity. Yeah, that's how I have been a little pain last days,
Mhm.
but it has been a joy to be here with you and all that are with us now. And I don't know. Oh, we already have 1 hour. I don't know if we have any questions. Any? We have Elaine, Jan, um,
Yeah,
Candice,
I can't seem to scroll on mine, but maybe you can.
Andrea, Anna, and so many others. I'm very grateful and joyful. Peg and many that Marita, Delia. Yeah, I would like to say all the names. Savannah. I'm very grateful. Yeah, I feel gratitude. You want to share something else, Franco?
Well, with everything that's playing out right now, it it's there in a way, a very powerful excitement, because one of the things that, and I'm sure you probably have felt it yourself, and I'm sure a lot of people that are listening right now that have felt it themselves, that they felt the change in the world, and they felt that it was time to upgrade the game of life and so forth, and they get caught up in the waiting, and one of the things that people wait for is to say, okay, when the outside world changes, then life is going to be better. um, and again, that's an interpretation, of course, and a definition. But at the same time, it's like it's going to get better when it changes. And of course, guess what happens? People hear about, oh, the energies are coming in, and we're going through all of this stuff. So they put a lot of focus as, okay, let me hear what other spiritual people or whoever are saying, or what's going on. Let me look at the news. Let me look at what's going on to see if there's really change going on, right? And that can be, something that could be lots of fun to play with, but it keeps us stuck, because really, realistically, we are the ones that feel the changes within us, and we're the ones that actually start making the changes within ourselves, and then the outside world changes. Because again, the outside world is the some people call it mirror, some people call it the screen, some people call it the field, and
It's a
it's
kaleidoscope for me right now. Kaleidoscope, you know?
yes,
Yeah.
kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's not about waiting anymore. It's about, and this is why I talk about the fact that we are creators, and we start using our creative abilities. Now, Our abilities never got really turned off. We just got caught up in the manifestation thing, and manifestation is really basically creating what already exists, but also creating from what you see from the mirror, or what you call on the screen, or what you see from the collective. But true, pure creation is creating something that has not been experienced yet, that lives in you, that wants to be expressed. It lives in you because you can see it and feel it. How many of us have had dreams? And when I talk about dreams, I'm talking about your imagination. You're dreaming of a world being a certain way. Well, a lot of times what happens is after we finish that, we say, oh, okay, I don't know, that's just a dream. It makes me feel good for a little while, but then I got to get back to the real life, real world. We got to go play the world, right? But what I say right now, because of the matrix being what it is, the fact the energy is coming in, us coming, being reconstructed, and going through a transformation, those dreams are a more powerful key than ever before to start changing not only your personal reality, but your collective reality of what we see. So now is the best time to dream, and don't let the dreams be limited. But when you're dreaming, go into seeing yourself experiencing it. Feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it. Feel how it feels. Because the feelings, we want to understand, you apply joy to it because you see yourself as a powerful creator, and as the creator you're using that skill set to create, and you're creating something amazing. We all underestimate how much power that has to change everything in the world the way it is, and even our own lives. It not only changes our mindset, how we see things, how we experience things, it changes our bodies, it changes our environment, and it changes the whole playground, but it also changes how we interact with other people and how people interact with you, and also people coming together. So it's very powerful, because the thing is, each one of us is part of that projector that's projecting into the collective. So you'll probably see it first before the collective reflects it all. But as many of us all over the world are doing this, and more of us are coming online, and more of us are getting more powerful in using that creativity. So it's a matter of using your imagination, your creativity, and create something that you feel within yourself to come to life. And that will change things in a powerful way. So it's very key. And one thing I want to mention, if you feel hopeless, or you feel depressed about what you're seeing in the world, and disappointed or something of that nature, because of the intense polarities, because of the craziness and whatever else. And, of course, at this time, there's also, rollout of lockdowns and this and that. That is just the old world saying to you, hey, look, this is still alive. You're still giving power to it. And the other part is also showing us that the ego is still having something to play with. So really, at this point, when you see that, you say, great, this is what I have to work with. This is what I get to play with. Now, how do I step up and do this? It's about, because let's look at this. Everybody likes a challenge. Okay? When does your creativity come out the most powerful? It's when you see a challenge. For most of us, nobody really wants to take the easy road. And when I say the easy road, you know, having it done for us. So you see the challenge, you say, okay, I came here, I have lots of experience, I've learned a lot of things, I'm going to catch this. How can I now step up and create something very powerful and feel that I'm a contributor, and so forth? Because this is the thing. Many people say, well, can we have our alien brother, sister souls come here and change everything, fix it all up, get rid of all these bad people and so forth? That's the label again, because there's no good or bad, but, they're playing a negative role, for example. And, we got to get rid of the dark and bring in the light, whatever it is, right? Well, the light exposes the old polarized lower vibrational stuff so that you could see it. But, realistically, it's your whole holistic. But if you were put into the world where it got changed. So tomorrow morning you woke up and the world is totally different. Like the world is where what everybody felt like they wanted to have. Yeah, that may be great for a while, but it didn't give you the same capacities to go from one state to another and use that empowered part. So that what happens is, okay, I'm in my new world, and you go stagnant again in that old world. But when you practice from going from one extreme and now you're also building your muscles. And I'm talking about your creative muscles, your energy muscles. And you're never going to be stagnant anymore, because even if you get to that so-called world that you've envisioned, you're not going to stop there. You're going to create even more and more and more. And when I say more, I'm more elaborate, much more fulfilling, much more creative, and so forth. I'm not talking about having more stuff, like we've been conditioned to believe. More stuff I have, more happy I am. But, that's not the way it works. So this is the thing. And look at, I'm sure you have children, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Young adults and to teenagers.
Okay. Okay. So, but if you remember as your children, as they learned the new things, how to walk and how to talk and so forth, they felt really good. They felt good. And then they started to run, they jump on furniture, do whatever, play. But they got to learn to appreciate the body, what it can do, and how smart and how capable they are, because they learn how to do a lot of things. And anything else they've learned, and then live, share their life accordingly, right? That's part of the process of building that capacities to extend ourselves, to create new layers and opportunities for us. And that's what we're doing right now. So this is why, even though we're getting support energetically, we are still doing it, because that gives us the opportunity to really learn how to create, and not get stuck. Just go one step at another. It's like, I'm going to put you in one room and you're going to go from one room to another room. And now I got to live with the room, until somebody gives me another room to go into. No, you start with your room, and then you start changing the room and you upgrade it and whatever else. And you're, I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to make it this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring this in, whatever. Right. That is much more fulfilling. It feels much better because it's natural. It's natural. And then again, the other thing too. I'm sorry?
It's our core, the creation. This
Yeah,
creation. Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And then the excitement of actually right now is learning about ourselves, discovering ourselves. We know who we are, but at the same time, we don't really recognize that because we've played the other version of ourselves, what we can call the AI version of it. But we're discovering ourselves. We're discovering who we are. We're discovering what we can actually do. We can discover that we actually are in control or can shape our world. And that discovery brings excitement. That excitement brings opportunities. Those opportunities is, what do I do next? And the other thing is, we're not going to get stuck. And when I mean stuck, let me explain that a little bit better. That you're not going to get stuck with whatever you create. You're going to always continue to create even more of something more elaborate. Okay, now, like a baby learns how to crawl. Oh, good, I can move around. Then it learns how to walk, and then it learns how to run. Then it learns how they can use their body gymnastically, or to be able to go play in the park, or to be able to do a lot of things, right? So each one is like, okay, what can I do next? What can I do next? Because I'm learning this. So it's the same thing with us. We have a tremendous amount of capabilities within ourselves, which we haven't utilized for the longest time. We haven't. And so as we bring in all of that stuff online, then within ourselves, then we'll see what else we can do. And then there is no limits. It's not like I'm going to arrive. There's no arrival, by the way. We're never going to get anywhere. Okay. We're in motion. We're basically on a journey of expansion, creation, and so forth. Let me bring one point out. Source is everything that is. Okay. But why did Source go create all these playgrounds and all these physicalities all over the place? Why? It's all within source anyways. But why would it do that? Because its natural state, which is also our natural state, is to expand, to create more, and to reach more, its capacities, and so forth else. So what did source do? Source hold the base, created within its base a spirit. Spirit is source in action, and we are all that. Then started to create playgrounds, started to create physicalities. It started off with small amounts, then it's continued to expand and expand. More, more planets, more galaxies, more universes, all within that, all within the source. Why? Because it wanted to expand and reach new levels. This is our natural core. This is what we're made of. This is why we always are. We can't really just say, okay, this is my life. Yeah, we can get caught up in that if the ego gets a good grab of it. But our true nature is always exploring, always expanding. What else can we do? How can we play it? And so forth. Not because it's not satisfied. It has joy in every part of it, but it's a journey. It's a journey. You never arrive. We're not made to arrive. And if we do arrive somewhere, we enjoy that, but we continue. You know, it's non, we're not stagnant beings. That's not what we're made of.
Yeah, it's very funny because only today I was speaking. It's a very simple example, but I was speaking with my kids. They are learning music, me too, how to play new instruments, and then one of my older young adults said, "Oh, this is a new way. We are doing this way now." And my husband was saying, "Oh, but the music and the scales," and I was telling him like they are creating a different ways of using the instruments and creating different scales and other ways to play more and that is just an example because the the collective construct is still, oh, we learn music and music is this way and there are those notes and you just have to use these, but these new kids, they bring already a much bigger picture, and so and they are creating new ways of playing and I feel the same. So yeah, like you, sometimes I feel that I come a little bit early because I'm always saying, but why does it have to be this way? Maybe we can do different. Maybe we can create something different or use um, what we have, but uh, try, yeah, we pick some pieces and create something new. And so it's which is I think is the core of what is expanding more now. That we are not holding to anything anymore, to knowledge, to but just okay, there is this knowledge about this subject, but I can add this and that, and maybe I pick something from there, but also I pick something from the other side, and we can create more because that is the joy. Yeah, as you were telling. Yeah, thank you very
Yeah,
much. I'm really
because
grateful.
it is our natural state. And I saw a quick question here. What if our imagination, if we imagine something too big? You know, is there such thing? There is no such thing, really. You can go as big as you want because if you can start experiencing it within yourself, at a certain point, those things will start to come into play because the thing is, we're unlimited. We're not limited in our creation. How many people do we know, like you were even talking about your kids and so forth, that thought it was impossible to run a certain way or to be able to do something or to go and do something of some sort? And, how many times remember, how many times your parents or some friends have said, oh, that's impossible. You can't do that, or whatever it is. You can't, whatever. And if they feel committed to it, guess what? They'll just keep doing it. They may not get there instantaneously, but they will. And they will. And what happens? by doing that, even if you open the door and it doesn't happen right now, it will happen later because we'll bring it in. This is the thing.
Yeah, that's what I
So,
was feeling. Sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
As you
no,
were
no,
saying, because you are opening a door. Maybe it will not happen in your life in this body. Maybe, but it's something. It was created in the totality, so it exists as you see it.
yeah. And this is the other thing I can say is how many times have we had, envisioned something, maybe an invention or an idea or something of that nature, but we never took the action. But just because we were thinking of it, feeling it within ourselves, somebody else came along and made that invention or, did that thing. Because your envisioning, whatever that may, or imagination, is feeding it throughout the whole field. And if you're not ready to take action, somebody else will. And but again, whatever they're doing, it's not about saying, well, they did it and I didn't do it. No, it's about that changes a lot of things and it brings something forward for the whole collective one way or another. So we can't say, it's just mine. But at the same time, that also stimulates us to say to take action because a lot of times we get caught up. Well, I'm afraid I don't have the resources. I don't have whatever. But if you don't, that's okay. Imagine it. Whoever can will, but it still benefits everybody really at one point or another. So there's no limits. When Source, created the so-called spirit form. Uh, each design of a playground, each physical representation within the playground just got more elaborate. Like you take planet Earth, for example. That's just one planet, one playground. Planet Earth has been retooled so many times. It started off with giants, small ones, different animal kingdoms, whatever it is, at all different stages. And when they created these physicalities, the engineers, which are aspects of ourself, which are spirit, and we're spirit too, they took 12 different species and blended it, taking the highlights of all of them to create something new. Why? Because they wanted to create something new and say, okay, let's see how far we can go. Let's see what we can plug in and have availability for this physical form on this planet, and that's blended. That's why we have so many species of plant life, so many species of animals, so many species of all the different sentient beings on the planet, and also what we have capable, which we've barely ever used at this point, that we're capable because of those, because it dreamed big. It never stopped. It said, okay, what else can we do? How far can we push it? Let's tune the planet this time so that it can go from third dimension all the way to 9 automatically. And humanity do the same. That's not impede them by doing this or that. Let's let them, they don't have to eat. They have, energies and so forth. Not that we've been using that for the last 10,000 years, but that's coming back online. But,
Yes.
you know, I'm just saying, as a creator, which we all are, you know, we didn't stop at what was already created. We just continue to create. Engineers do the same thing all the time. They're always coming up with new inventions, new things. It hasn't ever been done before. Let's see what we can do. That's our true nature in all aspects. So never, um, we're never restricted in that form. And there, especially here on this planet, the planet is very unique. Our bodies are very unique. So it was pushing it to the max to see what else it could be done. So that's how beautiful and powerful that is.
That's the wonder. Wonder. Franco, we have 1 hour and a half.
Okay, so we,
And
we can wrap it up.
wow, no, I love it. I'm very grateful. I'm very joyful. And I was just seeing the comments. I'm very grateful to all. I'm super speeded up right now, feeling like creating something. So I'm gonna create a dinner, vegetarian
Okay,
dinner.
cool. And dinner is a creation too. You know, we use you know, our skills and imagination and see how it is. So that's the beauty of the dance of life. I mean, we uh, we have so many things, and the thing is too, some of our creations, just to keep in mind, may involve other people. You know, so if you can't, but you can imagine it, and then by holding the imagination, holding that, other people will come along that can play different roles to emphasize it and so forth. So, like if you want to create a community or create something or create another way of life, there's going to be other people around the world that may want to connect with that and so forth. And now, you know, things are changing even further. Yes, we may be dealing with restrictions and so forth, but you have to understand nothing can exist unless we keep giving it support.
Yes.
So one thing I want to mention, what's natural flows through us. What's natural flows through us. What is not natural in our design needs to be continuously programmed and stimulated. As a child, you come in and you have a natural tendency of curiosity, of imagination, of playfulness, of adventure. No judgment, no categorizing. You just come here that way. That's natural, and we still have it in us. But what happened? On the playground, we came in, and guess what? On the playground, we got programmed to do what's not natural. But yeah, it's part of the experience. This is why there's so much focus of parents teaching their kids of what the old world is like and how to work in it. Education does the same thing. The media does the same thing. All the different organizations do the same thing. And they have to keep reinforcing, continue conditioning and making you believe that's life. And that's fine. But now what's happening? People are not feeling that anymore. It's saying, no, that's not life. That does not resonate. Because they want to go back to their true design. And the true design is not that hard. Now the ego may say it's hard and may, you know, try to push along the way, but at the same time it's not. So this is the thing. What's natural just flows and it's easy. And that's our natural conditions, our true state. Let's call it that, the true state. The other stuff, so the stuff that we're purging is not our natural stuff. We're purging the programmed, conditioned, and adopted operating systems that we watched in our inverted world. That's what we're doing. So that we go into the natural. And the natural is envision, loves to connect, loves to play, loves to be with other people. You know, it just enjoys it. We came here to play together. If we wanted to come and experience just by ourselves, we would have been the only one here. But no, we created many, many versions of ourselves to go play with. And it doesn't matter what role they take on. We play with them. And we can move, play. It's like anything. You're going to play with certain than others and whatever else. And that's the dance of life.
We can choose what we want to play.
Exactly. Exactly. So, anyways, I don't want to keep you from your dinner, and it was great playing with you. We apologize that the internet wasn't that great on one end, and we had some feedback before, but I don't know if you can trim it afterwards. If not, don't worry about it. People can
No,
always move it a little
I will
further.
try to after the dinner, maybe tomorrow or tonight later, download it and then I send you the file,
Okay.
which must be better quality because
Yeah, the file may be better quality, and then if I need to trim it, I can trim it. The parts that weren't good quality in the sense where there was a lot of feedback, sound feedback, and stuff like that. But anyways,
oh,
it was
perfect.
great to play with you. Thank you, and thank everybody that came on and you know, enjoyed our opportunity.
Sparkles. Thank you, Franco.
You're very welcome.
Grateful. Grateful. Oh no. Okay. The end button.